A synergy is the creation of a whole that is greater than the simple sum of its parts. It's when you combine two things that work very well together and just go with it. Card games have synergies, video games have synergies. Basically, everything that can be combined with something else creates a synergy, if optimized. For example, in the Binding of Isaac you have a shit ton of possible game-breaking synergies, such as an item that grants healing from explosion and an item that spawns bombs that will explode on your face, causing your enemies to die and your ass to get healed. Game-breaking, as I said. TF2 is no strange to synergies between weapon or class interactions, but today I want to talk about one of the most entertaining and mechanic-breaking synergies in TF2, the what's so called ÜBERCHAIN.
In theory, it's a pretty simple strategy. You have two mats with stock Uber and Uberso, Ubering each other and hitting the enemies to gain Uber while invincible to keep popping Uber and harassing them as long as you can. It's an adrenaline rush and one of the most satisfying things to pull off in the game. And yet, it seems like almost no one does that. Many players never tried ÜBERCHAIN or don't ever know what's about. There isn't even a guide on YouTube that teaches the general strategies or just tips for doing it. But today I'm gonna fix that.
Let's start from the beginning. Make sure that your fellow medical psychopath is always overhealed, since the chances of a critical hit ruining your life is pretty high, trust me. Generally, you'll want the medic with the highest Uber percentage to hit the enemies, since it will get Uber sooner to start the chain. You can rush enemies without Uber, you're still at 225 pocketed medled, so light classes such as snipers, angels, spies are usually pretty safe pickings and will grant you 2 swings, hopefully. Pyro often can be rushed too, but just make sure you have an escape route in case things get messy. My best advice is to keep your ass away from heavies, soldiers and demons when without Uber, since their firepower can wipe both of your faces in no time, and relying on random crits isn't the answer. Your companion's life is just as important as yours, since often when a medic dies, the chances of the other one surviving is pretty low, so try prioritizing survivability over dump kills, unless the situation lets you get away with that.
But now the juicy part, when you finally get to Uber, it's time to glow. I will give you some tips to the heart of hitting your enemies with a pointy saw. First off, this dude, it's your worst enemy. If you ever get the chance to encounter a pirate with a factory chromosome kit, try not to engage him. While invincible, he will just trap you with his hair blast. Your best bet is to encounter him alone and kill him when you're not invincible, since he will probably try to just kill you instead of playing ping pong with your thoughts. Also, if he's good enough to understand to stick with his team, you can always try firing a shot with the Crusader crossbow or the Blue Soldier if you're into that. It will waste a few seconds, but at least you get the chance to take a swing or two. But if the Uber is running out and the chain somewhat gets broken, you can always strategically retreat and try next time. Another enemy of the ultimate chain reaction is the sentry gun. With his knockback and health, taking out a sentry gun isn't top priority, but it can get easily annoying after an Uber. So, if it's just a sentry, your best bet is just dance upon it and keeps winning with the Uber, so hopefully it will break.
Enemies aside, let's talk hitting foes. Lower classes are your best friends when it comes to farming Uber, since they can't get away easily from your deadly swings. With other classes, however, try to just play smart and lure them into your melee range, especially if you're talking about scouts. Don't bother chasing one, this is just a waste of precious time.
Also, here's a few tips for the other side of the combo, the medic who popped. First off, don't stay inside your swing and doctor, or you will be absorbed is already slow attacks, because of the way its detection works in TF2. When talking sentry, try to keep the sentries as busy as possible, while your teammates get Uber. The knockback that the sentry generates can often be a problem. If you still have a Uber left and you decide to engage the sentry, do your best not to get through the building and the medic, or those shots will be blocked as well. Third, the most difficult thing to do is try to block the enemy's next movement with your collision, so your friend will have an easier time hitting the target.
Coming back at the aggressive soul swinger, here is something really important that can ruin your day. sometimes this can happen. This is an uncommon bug that can only happen while uberchaining, specifically when Medic 1 is running out of Uber, Medic 2 Ubers Medic 1 while still invincible from Medic's 1 Uber, Medic 1 switches from Medican to Uber or primary without disconnecting Medic 2 from his beam manually. Thanks to After Breakfast for breaking down this bug, link in his video in the description where he explains the bug in detail. To prevent this from happening, just avoid creating this very specific situation. If that happens anyway, Medic 1 can quickly turn around and heal for a split second Medic 2, triggering again his well-deserved invincibility.
Some few additional tips are map related. Don't Uber right next to a place where the enemy can easily escape or retreat in tail spawn, or in your clip. Some maps are more indicated to make this strategy work, like for example Dust Bowl with its tight space. Enemies can easily end up in your melee range as well as in groups. Other maps are just bad for ÜBERCHAIN, like 2 Fort. In your clip. Also, going for taunt kills is an extremely risky move, and I only advise you to try getting when the other medic has Uber, so in case of danger, the Uber can save your gluteus.
Sai che mi è venuta un'idea?
Again. Alright, what the fuck I did at this bit?
To summarize, a good map for uberchaining is a map where the enemies are close to each other in groups that can be molested with your fancy Uber soap. For this, a map that encourages breathing between teammates isn't a good map for uberchaining since you constantly need to hit your foes.
Well, that's all. Remember to have good coordination with your medic friend and always remember the most important thing of all. Have fun. Bye bye. In theory, it's a pretty good bambina. Hello, pede patodo.
Patanzone portare per fratello.
Oh,
ada.
Adi. Pote petato. Oh.
So, light classes such as snipers, handlers, or spies are usually pretty safe pickings, and will...
Piazza Matador Robotonori, rapao.
It seems like almost no one does that. Many players never tried ÜBERCHAIN or don't even know what's about. Heck, there isn't even a guide. Even! Amici miei, scusate, scusatemi. Faccio schifo.